So if you're new, the first thing you want to do is you want to go to the center of the broadcast where it says everyone at the top of the screen. You want to click on that, and you want to look at that menu and find hide everyone and click on that. And that'll make the screen larger for better viewing purposes. And then if you're new and you have questions, the way to ask questions is to type them in the chat box on the right-hand side. There is a couple of icons to the right. One is attendance and one is messaging, the chat box. Click on the chat box, put your questions in the box, and I'll do my best to answer them. And we'll go from there. We trade the S&P 500 futures index. You got to say the whole thing. S&P 500 futures index. We don't trade the regular S&P 500. It's the S&P 500 futures index. So if you Google it, you'll get the right index. We trade a product called the ES. The ES contract, which has a value of $50 per point per unit. And you can trade as many units as your brokerage account balance supports based on money management principles that we apply through the use of what we call the guidelines. We can't say the word rules. We can't make people do anything. So we just provide guidelines that it's your option to follow. It's up to you. That's why they're called guidelines and not rules. We have two systems. That's why there's two charts on the screen. The upper chart is a combination of two strategies, AT and BOS. And we use a simple measurement that determines which strategy we're going to use. So there's no thought process or decision-making process on your part, other than the fact that you take a measurement and it determines what you're going to do. So you don't have to stress out over what am I going to do tonight. The measurement is late at night, so it may not be convenient for some people. And that's why there's a system on the lower chart that is completely hands-off. It just runs from day to day. That's THG on the bottom. Our complete track record for 5+ years is on the left on the spreadsheet. We've been here in sessions every trading day, most trading days, for the last 5+ years. And we record our points, and there's all the points there. Over 3,200 points on our way to 3,300 over the last 5 years. And the system does it all for us. We basically set the strategy and go to bed. So in other words, like they said yesterday in the chat box, sleep and trade. So it's taking care of your trading while you're sleeping. Somebody asked yesterday in the chat box, is this truly a set it and forget it system? Yes, absolutely. So we're starting out very similar to last month. We started out in the hole, and then we climbed out of that hole. It took us about half the month to climb out of the hole. We're approaching that. And we were on ATBOS minus 27. You can see that we're down to 9.25 just in the last 2 days. And last month we started out in the hole and we ended up with 111 points, 111 and a quarter. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen this month, but it's very similarly happening the same way. Questions, thoughts, ideas? Plus 2.5 on the upper chart. We're down 9 on the lower chart, but that's really 4.5 because we're in reduced risk. So the chart will continue to trade for the next 6 hours till the end of the market day. We just had contract rollover. I'm assuming everybody did well with that. We're all on the expiration date of 12/21 now, so I won't need to talk about that anymore. And then we also increased, we changed one setting on the profit of THG. We set that at 13.5 points. So again, prior to this year, or I should say at the beginning of the year and last year, we ran a 14-point profit with a 7-point stop on the lower chart. And then we reduced it to 9-point profit with a 4.5-point stop. And now we've adjusted it because all my studies, the lower chart is it's a long-term view at the entire day, the range of the price that moves up and down. And my studies, I studied it for a couple years, and before we came out with this strategy a couple years ago. And there's something to the 14-point profit. So what I did is we've combined the two last settings, and we're getting a 13.5-point profit, which just happens to be 3 times 4.5. So it takes 3 trades to wipe out a win. It takes 3 losses to wipe out a win. That's less likely to happen. So in essence, we profit more. Our system is what you call an automatic day trading software. It does everything for us. Its settings are all pre-set up when you get it. We set it up all for you, so you don't have to set up anything. Then we teach you how to run the software. So the software is very easy to use. I think today's third grader could run our software probably better than us. Stop loss on the bottom chart is 4.5. 4.5. It's a 13.5 profit and 4.5 stop loss. So 3 times 4.5 is 13.5. So if you want to do the math there. So if you're new, the way to find out or do your due diligence or educate yourself about our system is to, number one, check out our website. It's pretty educational. Designed the website myself. It's on the upper left of the spreadsheet, automaticdaytradingsoftware.com. And the other way is to ask questions in this session. So the first trade the first trade on THG is a loss. It was a short trade and the price went up, not down. So it's a loss.